Hey folks, I'm here in the kitchen, and you know when you don't see my usual setup that these videos are going to be a little more informal and a little less structured, but hopefully you still are entertained and you still come out of this learning something. So with the DNC Unity Reform Commission happening in Las Vegas over the next few days, I thought it would be good to cover a couple DNC related topics that have popped up over the last couple days. So the first one is going to deal with the DNC and Bernie Sanders, and the second story is going to deal with the DNC and Donna Brazile. Yes, Donna Brazile is still around, still involved in the DNC, and that story may make some of you angry. But first up, so with this Unity Reform Commission in Las Vegas, there is a resolution that's going to be raised by Bob Mulholland, a Democratic National Committee man from California. This resolution that he is raising is going to be a bid to try to get Bernie Sanders and Angus King to join the Democratic Party. Now I'll get to what is likely the real reason for this resolution coming up and what is likely to come out of it, but first, this is what Mulholland has to say about it. There's only two real teams in the presidential election in 2020, and that's Trump versus a Democrat. And with Trump running the White House, we need more people to call themselves Democrats and stop standing on the sidelines. Okay, so first up, just to directly respond to his comments here, Bernie Sanders has not been standing on the sidelines. He's been out there every day fighting Trump and pushing forward progressive policy. So to act like Bernie can't do any good unless he's part of the Democratic Party is just bullshit. Now, this resolution, even if it gets the votes, gets approved, gets passed, it's not really going to lead to anything. So Angus King has already come out and said, no, I'm an independent. I'm not going to join the Democratic Party. So Angus King has been an independent since the 90s. And Bernie Sanders has been an independent his entire career. And Bernie in the past has said, I'm an independent. And he has no interest in joining the Democratic Party. So even if his resolution gets through, it ultimately doesn't mean anything. You can't make a candidate be a Democrat. But it seems what they're trying to do here, or at least what Mulholland is trying to do, is create this divide between the independents and the Democratic Party. So if Mulholland was honest, he would be able to recognize how the sort of positive impact that Bernie Sanders can have on the Democratic Party as an independent. Because once you're in the party, it's a lot harder to come out and criticize the party and criticize big donors, where all the money is coming from, which is why you don't see people like Elizabeth Warren coming out as strongly against the Democratic Party as Bernie Sanders has in many ways, because she's part of that system. And when you're part of that system, you're surrounded by people who really, it's a team, just like sports. So even if you don't agree with people on your team, like I don't imagine that Elizabeth Warren has too much in common with Joe Manchin, regardless of that, because they're on the same team, she feels the need to defend him. Whereas Bernie Sanders, as an independent, he can speak out against it. And one of the best analogies for me on this is in Canada, we have three major parties: the Conservatives, the Liberals, and the NDP. Now, the NDP being the more left party, if they're in the opposition and the Liberals are the controlling party, the NDP acts as a sort of force, an outside force, to pull the Liberal Party more to the left because they're outside of the party. So even if you have more progressive wings within the Liberal Party, they're not able to speak out the same way that the NDP is able to. And it's the same way with Bernie Sanders and the Democratic Party. In lieu of an actual third party with power in the United States, Bernie Sanders acts as that force, trying to pull the Democratic Party to the left and show them that, you know what, these policies like Medicare for all are actually very popular. And ultimately, the only reason that the Democratic Party is not adopting many of these progressive positions is because of the Democratic Party's attachment to big money donors. So if Bernie were to join the Democratic Party, there really wouldn't be anything positive to come out of it, because it would really just silence a lot of what Bernie has been saying. And I mean, it'd be unclear if Bernie would continue to criticize the Democratic Party in the way that he has. And I don't want you to take the word criticize negatively. He's pointing out things that the Democratic Party should be aware of and should be learning from. So it's criticizing for their own best interests as a way for the Democratic Party to gain more voters. So if he's in the party, he's not able to be that strong of a voice in terms of how the Democratic Party needs to fix itself. And also in the eyes of voters. I think one of the big draws of Bernie Sanders is that he's an independent. So him not being part of that two-party system really has the voting public trust his thoughts more on many of these policies and topics, because they know that it's coming from a genuine place. It's not coming from a place of Wall Street or big corporate donors or whatever other forces that exist within the parties. It's coming from this man who ran a campaign on small donations. So, but like I said, even if the resolution comes through, it's not going to do anything. But it's just interesting that the DNC continues to try to stifle these voices that are so strong from the outside and are trying to change the Democratic Party for the good. But I don't know what Mulholland's actual motivations are here, but I think it's clear. So after I shot this video, I came across Bob Mulholland's Twitter page. And in doing so, I came across two tweets referencing Bernie Sanders. And one of them is fairly recent. And these tweets paint a clear picture of what side Bob Mulholland is actually on. So let me show you the first tweet here. This is from October 16th, 2017, so 2 days ago. Bernie Sanders happy today. Governor Brown vetoes bill requiring him and Trump to release taxes for 2020 ballot. Sanders did not release in 2016. So that alone shows you what side of the Democratic Party Bob Mulholland is on. He's not in Bernie's corner. He's not attached to policy. He's attached to playing games. And this resolution is just a way to try and show that, look, Bernie is not a Democrat because he didn't become a Democrat after my resolution. That's all this is about. Now let me just show you one more tweet that shows you politically where Bob Mulholland stands. This is from April 23rd, 2017. Good news. Obama's candidate Macron advances against Trump/Putin's Le Pen. Bernie Sanders/French Communist Party candidate Mélenchon lost. So there you go. Now we clearly know that Bob Mulholland is just putting this resolution forward as a way to divide Bernie Sanders from the Democratic Party. There is no real intention here to actually reach out and listen to a progressive message. Donna Brazile was the interim chairwoman of the DNC after Debbie Wasserman Schultz had to get out of there after what she was shown, her involvement in pushing Hillary Clinton over Bernie Sanders. And yeah, so that was sort of obvious to everyone. And then once Donna Brazile became the interim chair, it came out that she had leaked town hall questions to the Hillary Clinton campaign. So Donna Brazile, while working within the DNC, was also a CNN contributor. So she had access to questions from a town hall against with Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders. And she used that power to try and help Hillary's campaign. And when that information came out, CNN dropped her. The DNC, though, she, interim chairwoman. You're cheating the system? Oh, you're with us. You're pushing the establishment pick over the pick of the progressive wing. You're with us. Stay with the DNC. And that's apparently what is continuing. So this news just came out. Let me show you the tweet that I first saw from Walker Bregman. Tom Perez appoints Donna Brazile to Rules and Bylaws Committee. Brazile left CNN after it was revealed she sent a debate question to Clinton. So, after being caught and also admitting leaking a question to the Hillary campaign, she has now been asked by Tom Perez to join the Rules and Bylaws Committee. I mean, this comedy writes itself. So, imagine everything was reversed. Let's say it was Tulsi Gabbard, who was a part of the DNC before she dropped out to endorse Bernie Sanders in the primaries. But let's say Tulsi Gabbard stayed in the DNC. We all knew she was a Bernie supporter, and it came out later that Tulsi Gabbard had leaked town hall questions to Bernie Sanders. Imagine the response from the establishment within the Democratic Party. Imagine Tulsi Gabbard was now being invited by, let's say, Keith Ellison, who in another world maybe is the DNC chair. Keith Ellison has now invited Tulsi Gabbard to the Rules and Bylaws Committee after she had leaked town hall questions to Bernie Sanders. You tell me what the response would be. Now, there are people in media who think that this is just only a very small section of people find this to be an issue. So here's a tweet from Dave Weigel, who is of the Washington Post, and he tweets, "Here's Donna Brazile's response to the outer Bernie world criticism of her getting reappointed to a DNC board." Now, before I even get to Donna Brazile's actual comments here, what I get from this tweet from Dave Weigel is that this is just an outer Bernie world criticism. As if, first of all, as if people that support Bernie Sanders is not the majority of the Democratic Party, even though polling shows that it is. But this is an outer Bernie world criticism, not a legitimate criticism of somebody who clearly had the interests of one side within the party over the other. Now, I mean, it's hard to really know if there is a place ever for Donna Brazile within the DNC. I would say no. That said, you could make an argument to say, well, she has a lot of experience working in the DNC, and I'm sure she's done some great things. And I'm sure she's a nice person. In person, I'm sure if you talk to her, she's great. But this just gives the wrong message to voters. And I think people just hope that no one's going to notice this stuff. I mean, this wasn't some like big news item that got blasted out. Somebody discovered this looking through the people that were on the Rules and Bylaws Committee. They saw her name there. That's how we discovered it. So if they were so proud about it, they would have maybe talked about it. But they're not proud of it. They're trying to. It's a clique. The Democratic Party is a clique. And they rather try and find the excuses later than hire the right people to start with. That's what this comes down to. Tom Perez knows Donna Brazile. They're well connected to the same people that all the other establishment Democrats are connected to. They all know each other. They all go to the same cocktail parties. They all give each other jobs. That's what this is. This is not, here are the best people for this job. This is just, I know her, I'm giving her a job. That's what this is. Now, let's get to Donna Brazile's response to the outrage over her joining this. Earlier this year, Chairman Perez called to ask me to serve on the Unity Commission. I said no. Last week, he informed me that I'm on his list to serve as an at-large member. Honored to serve. Since leaving the position this year, I've continued to help with fundraising and more to prepare the party for elections this year and beyond. As for those who might have some disagreement with me, I ask that they call me. I'm currently serving as a fellow here at the Shorenstein Center. It's funny that in the response, she completely explains why she is still part of the DNC. Fundraising. It all comes back to money. It always comes back to money. Just like Nancy Pelosi, Donna Brazile is good at fundraising, and that's why she has her job. It's not because she is dedicated to pushing progressive policy. It's not because she really wants to get the voice of the people out there and represent the workers and not those that have power and money already. No. It's because Donna Brazile can fundraise. Donna Brazile has connections. That's why she's still part of the DNC. That's why she's on the Rules and Bylaws Committee. So, I mean, this is the system. As long as this system depends on outside money, this is what's going to continue happening. And there's just no way around it, except for lending your voice. And I believe, I have not seen images yet, but a lot of progressives are going down to Las Vegas for this Unity Commission. So let's see if it has an impact. Because until the DNC begins to actually represent the voters, they're going to continue putting up these candidates that are up there because they have ties to money and not because they are principled in their dedication to progressive policies.